What would you say to others about IASIS Microcurrent Neurofeedback?
First of all, it worked for me. And 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I was struggling to get rehab. And the thing I kept saying to every social worker, every person I had to deal with was, I need rehab and I could get better. I could go back to work. Just, I don't want my brain to freeze where it is. And I kept hunting for any kind of exercises to help me do it. I found a 10-hour-long party video on YouTube to help me try to get used to words. And it allowed me to kind of go to restaurants and sort of. But the one thing I kept saying was, I have to try these things
Mhm.
because I would hate to find out 10 years from now with them that if I had just done this, I'd be all better. And this is one of those things. And I was fighting to try anything I could. If I didn't try it, I wouldn't know if it was the fix. I can tell you that this worked unbelievably for me. And it can't hurt to try it. I mean, that may sound whatever, but if I had found this back then, I would have been back working.
Mhm.
And that had been what I was afraid of. And you wouldn't know otherwise, you know. It,
Jan tells us about her journey. So this morning we're talking to Jan. How are you doing, Jan?
doing good. I'm doing good. I've
So
only
how
been up
about
for 2 hours and I've gotten makeup on and everything. Um, sorry, I'm going on and on, but it's so exciting to me to be able to do all this and get breakfast and get set up for this, which means testing everything. And in 2 hours and no headache, no nausea, in spite of all the moving things around. Anyway, so yes, I feel good.
how long ago did you have your brain injury?
It's been 6.5 years ago, July 2017.
Wow. What was it like before you started IASIS Microcurrent Neurofeedback?
The only thing that kept me going, so to speak, was working on talks, advocacy, trying to find a way to make a difference because I couldn't really get out because of my ability to, my audio processing was awful. And I was in pain when
Mhm.
there were voices, a lot of voices around. So I didn't get out much. I couldn't drive like I used to. It's very limited. 4 turns, and it had to be familiar area and not residential. And ramps didn't count in my number of turns. So I could use the highway. But it was, my life was boring. It was watching reruns. It was because watching new movies was difficult. And there were times that I would be, what's the point? Um, and even now, and that was 5, 6 months ago. I was still, there would be some days I would wake up and it would be, what's the point in trying? Not in the sense of suicidal, but
Mhm.
life is boring. It's nothing special. My life had no, except for the talks and stuff like that, my life had no purpose.
Okay. How are you feeling now?
Confident in being able to do some of the old things that I haven't been able to do in 7 or 8 years. I was
So
talking
tell
to
me about that. Yeah.
I was talking to my aunt this morning. It's
Mhm.
birthday, and told her that I'm planning on coming out to visit. I haven't been able to do that in 2 years. I hit my head again in the pool, and driving got a lot harder, and long distances, even on straight highway, were too much.
Mhm.
So I actually signed up for, or I'm applying to work seasonal at Fairfax County Office of Elections. I just did that this morning. I figured, okay, well, I really think I could do 20 hours a week. If it's like 5 hours a day but, and I really think I can do it. Um, I'm not afraid to go out. I'm planning on running up to Target and returning something and picking up some groceries. This was something that was unheard of for the past 4 years. I hit my head multiple times, and each time things changed and usually got worse.
Mhm.
So this was, you know, and my aunt, when she was talking to me, was absolutely amazed. She said, "There's no halting. You're clear." And, it's true. For some reason, I still have trouble with words that start with W. It's
Mhm.
it's slower, it's harder. Don't know why that particular letter, you know, that's what it is.
Why do you think you're getting better? Do you know?
There's no question about it. It it has to be the uh IASIS treatments that I'm getting. It's been I had my 7th treatment Tuesday, and it just keeps going. After a year ago, I had chosen not to go to the Brain Advocacy Day down in Richmond because it would mean, being on a bus with all these people. It would mean walking around halls with all these people, trying to talk to people. And about 2 treatments in, I'm like, I can do this. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I'll just wear my headphones. People can treat me like I'm deaf and deal with it from there. They have to, because if you're handicapped and you're deaf, you're still entitled to do all these things.
Right.
And that's when it became obvious to me how much has changed. I have to use a rollator, and I'm looking at the time when I won't have to, but I'm not ready yet to try practice runs without it. Um, but I can see that coming. It's just the fact that I can see that coming, or that I start wanting to run out to my car to do X, Y, or Z, is something that was never a thought in my mind. And I'm going on, and I apologize.
That's okay.
There's no question to me that the changes that I keep having are related to that. It's just no question.
That's awesome. So have other people noticed?
Yes. Um, my granddaughter came to visit me, and she was here Tuesday, and she was like, "Grandma, you're back." And I was speaking clearly. I was thinking, I was doing. I played a song for her that I wrote recently. And I was able to do it, playing the guitar, singing, playing it clearly, picking. It has been so long since I was able to do that. One of the things I had lost in the beginning was creativity. I couldn't do things in a blank state,
Right.
and I couldn't listen to music because of my word processing issues. Now I can listen to music with words. I mean, I could listen to music, but not music, not songs. And singing was my life. I may have been a workaholic, but I was always either listening to, and once everybody left at the end of the day, singing while I worked. And that was gone. And that was gone overnight. And I can sing with music now for 2 hours. My voice is catching up because I haven't sung in 7 years.
Yep.
But that's just muscle tone.
That's awesome. What has been the largest transition for you?
Over the past 6.5 years, I kept trying to play the guitar. And I'd kind of get there, and kind of not. And I tried going around the back door by going, okay, these are just exercises, and that
Mhm.
actually got me fairly far. And then I hit my head at the pool, and that went back away.
Mhm.
And you need to understand how big music was for me.
Mhm.
I would sit around, I'd have my guitar sitting out, and I just sit around with my guitar in my lap, and playing, and just, even with myself, even when people weren't there. And I was music.
Mhm.
And, and being able to listen to music, the audio processing. I couldn't go to church because of the mingling. When we'd change to Sunday school, or even just the coming and going, if I just went for sacrament, I mean, it was isolating.
Mhm.
And, trying to get friends to come over and visit, things like that, it's like all well and good. But with COVID, everybody kind of switched to Zoom,
Mhm.
and in person is different. And it really, but now I can go places without having to put on my headphones. I went to an open house week and a half ago
Mhm.
with hundreds of people protesting, the casino they want to put in here. And we're talking hundreds of people showed up. I spoke. I did not have my headphones on the entire time.
Wow.
I went up to the hallway afterwards, and it was a high school, and high school hallways echo.
Right.
And I could walk through it all with my rollator, I could talk to people, and it never even occurred to me to put the headphones on. It wasn't that kind of sharpness. And a week and a half before on the Richmond trip, I still had to wear my headphones running around the hallways of the Capitol. But I didn't have to do that anymore. And that means listening to singing. And everything always comes back to music for me. That are my computers.
Yep. So it's really changed your life.
Unbelievably. I'm doing things I never thought would come back.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with me, Jan. It has been a pleasure.
But same here. And thank you. Thank you for what you've given me back.